My mother called me a failure at 17. Not worried, not disappointed, failure. She told relatives I'd end up homeless or in jail. Then she erased me from Christmas like I'd never existed. One text message. Don't come. You'll ruin the mood. I remember staring at my phone in a freezing parking lot in Columbus, Ohio. Headlights passing, wind cutting through my jacket. No place to go, no one to call. I'm Emily. I'm 26 now. And before you hear anything else, you need to know this. I didn't walk away from my family. They deleted me first. 9 years later, I stepped into Grandma's house in Pittsburgh on Christmas Day. The room went quiet in a way that felt wrong, like people knew a story I didn't. I didn't understand why. Not yet. But that Christmas was the first crack in the story my mother had built about me. Before we go on, tell me where you're watching from, your city or state, and one detail about your setup. Couch, porch, or late-night kitchen. It helps echoes of life feel a little closer to where you are. My mother didn't just criticize me. She stripped my name from the family. Part 2, Cold Nights and $6 Christmas. After I left nursing school, she used the word failure proudly. Not in anger, but with certainty. She told relatives I'd wasted her genetics and her time. Said I couldn't finish a basic degree. Then she made a show of cutting me off. Phone calls to aunts, emails to cousins, stories rewritten without me in them. She declared I was too embarrassing for Christmas gatherings. The text arrived 2 days before Christmas. Don't come. You'll ruin the mood for people who achieved something. I read it sitting in my car behind a warehouse in Indianapolis. Cold air seeped through the doors. The engine ticked softly. My hands were cracked from packing tape. Back then I worked 10-hour shifts lifting boxes, 95 degrees in summer, frozen docks in winter. The pay was $11.50 an hour. The pain felt honest. My 2005 Civic was my home. 2 duffel bags, a blanket, a membership card for a 24-hour gym so I could shower. I slept curled in the back seat, praying no one knocked. My mother never asked where I was, never asked if I was safe or alive. Christmas Eve, I tried to buy a $6 rotisserie chicken for dinner. The cashier said, "Happy holidays," and my chest caved in. I cried so hard I couldn't speak. Someone touched my shoulder gently. "I've got you," a voice said. Aunt Laura stood behind me with a grocery basket. She took me home without questions, fed me warm food, gave me clean sheets, and protected my silence. She never told my mother I was safe. For the first time in months, I slept without fear. The next morning, Laura spread college brochures across her kitchen table in Cleveland. "Let's rebuild," she said softly. And for the first time, rebuilding felt possible. But healing quietly doesn't mean the world stops trying to break you. Part 3, Quiet Steps Toward Harvard. I started over in Laura's kitchen. Course catalogs spread across the table. Coffee cooling beside my elbow. Community college felt humble, but it felt like oxygen. I took criminal justice classes, legal research, court procedures, documentation work. Every chapter felt like stitching myself back together. Days in classrooms, nights at a small law firm downtown. 3 lawyers, paper everywhere, a humming printer in the hallway. I filed motions, labeled evidence boxes, learned the rhythm of quiet offices after dark. And someone finally noticed me. Thomas, the senior partner, watched closely. He saw me catch mistakes in contracts, saw me question missing precedents, saw me think like someone I didn't believe I could be. One night he stopped beside my desk. The building felt still around us. "You're wasting your potential filing papers," he said. "Have you ever considered law school?" The word shook something loose inside me. Me, law school. I could still hear my mother's voice calling me worthless, but Thomas believed what I couldn't yet name. So I tried. I studied for the LSAT before sunrise and after shifts that scraped my hands raw. 4 attempts. 151, 157, 163, then 171. Laura drove me to every test. She waited in parking lots with lukewarm coffee and sent steady texts when doubt chewed my stomach. Then one night an email arrived: Harvard Law accepted full financial aid. I stared at the screen in disbelief. Laura looked over my shoulder. She screamed, then cried into her hands. We ate cheap Chinese takeout at 2 a.m., laughing like survivors, while my mother told people I was probably in jail. I walked across Harvard Yard with casebooks and cold fingers. 3 years of silence between us. 3 years of proving she'd been wrong. I graduated magna cum laude, moved to Washington, D.C., and argued my first federal case at 26. A fridge humming in my small apartment became victory music. Laura kept every newspaper clipping, every article, every courtroom photo. She built the archive my mother refused to acknowledge. But success doesn't erase the stories people tell about you. If this were your family, what would you do? Comment 1 to stay silent and guard your peace. Comment 2 to confront the lies and reclaim your name. Echoes of Life is listening. Part 4. The Christmas Table Unraveled. 9 years passed before I walked into Grandma's house in Pittsburgh again. Christmas lights glowed softly. Voices blurred into one crowded room. My mother stood near the tree performing her favorite story, boasting about my brother's promotion, speaking like she'd raised a world leader. People laughed politely. No one saw me step inside. Her voice sharpened. That's what happens with children who listen. A quiet slap I'd heard 1,000 times. Before she could continue, Laura rose from her chair. Her tone sliced through the room. I have an announcement. Conversations froze mid-breath. Even the TV fell silent. Laura placed a heavy folder on the dining table, the kind lawyers use. What are you doing? My mother snapped. Laura didn't answer. She opened the folder instead. First came my Harvard law degree. The embossed seal caught the Christmas lights. Then my bar license. Then letters from federal judges. Finally, a newspaper article about my fraud case, my name circled in red ink. She laid each piece down deliberately, like evidence entered into the record. The room murmured, then quieted, then stopped breathing entirely. My mother's smile collapsed. Her hand trembled around the diploma. This can't be real, she whispered. Laura looked straight at her, cold, precise. Your daughter is a federal prosecutor, she said. She has been for 4 years. My uncle stared at me. How did you not know? Grandma's voice broke the silence. How did you not know your own child was at Harvard? My mother stammered. She hid it. She kept me out. She wanted revenge. Laura pulled out her phone, opened screenshots. Texts where my mother called me worthless. Emails saying I was born wrong. Messages instructing relatives not to contact me. People gasped. Someone cursed under their breath. Cousin Megan looked guilty, too familiar with those messages. My mother switched tactics instantly, tears, open arms. We can start fresh, she begged. Come here, sweetheart. I stepped back, clear and steady. You deleted me, I said quietly. I just honored your choice. Her face changed again, shock, then anger, then something colder. Whispers spread across the room like wind. Relatives avoided her eyes. Some stared at the evidence again. Grandma reached for my hand gently. Her fingers shook slightly. You deserved better, she whispered. I'm so sorry. I nodded once. Words felt impossible. I grabbed my coat and headed for the door. The chatter behind me thinned. No one tried to stop me. Outside, cold air wrapped around my shoulders. Laura followed quietly. Keys jingled softly in her hand. We reached her car without speaking. Only the crunch of snow under our shoes. Inside the car, the heater blew warm air. My hands finally stopped shaking. Laura glanced at me gently. You okay? I don't know, I whispered. But I'm done pretending. She nodded and drove into the quiet night. Part 5: Boundaries, Evidence, and No More Waiting. I thought that Christmas was the end. It was only the opening argument. My mother showed up the next evening. No warning, no apology, just a hard knock at my door in D.C. I opened it slowly. Cold hallway air rushed inside. She stood there dressed like Sunday service, clutching her purse tightly. We need to discuss your monthly fund, she said. No hello, no warmth, only expectation. I blocked the doorway with my shoulder. I'm not discussing anything tonight. She tried stepping forward. I held the frame steady. You need to leave, I said quietly. My voice didn't shake. My hands did. Her face shifted instantly, confusion, then irritation, then sugary sweetness. We're both adults, she said. Be reasonable. Let me explain. No, I answered clearly. Not tonight. Not like this. Anger cracked through her mask. You're being dramatic and ungrateful. The same line she'd used for years. I said, leave. She stepped back slowly, but her eyes were sharp. I'll wait in my car, she said. You'll come down when you're ready. I closed the door firmly, locked every bolt and chain. Through the peephole she stood there fuming. 5 long minutes passed. Then she left. I called Laura immediately. My voice barely worked. She knows where I live. I'm coming, Laura said. Check your locks. I checked every window twice, every latch, every hinge. Laura arrived 20 minutes later, an overnight bag hanging from her arm. She made tea while I paced, shaking, rambling. She listened without interrupting, then said softly, "Tonight is safety. Tomorrow is a plan." I tried sleeping. Every sound jolted me awake. Footsteps, elevator dings, doors closing somewhere above. Morning came heavy. 3 missed calls from my mother. A new text from Megan. "Mom really needs help. Hear her out." Then another. "You owe her for raising you." I saved everything, screenshots, timestamps, message headers. Laura read them with a tight jaw. "Draft 1 boundary text," she said. 1 clear line. No emotion. It took me 30 minutes. I rewrote it 4 times. Finally I typed, "I will not provide money. Use email for all contact. Do not come to my home again." My finger hovered, then pressed send. I blocked her number immediately. 3 new calls came from unknown numbers. I blocked each one. Work offered no escape. 4 voicemails waited on my office phone. Her voice shifted wildly, sweet, threatening, begging, blaming. I saved each recording. HR filed an incident report. Security added her to the no-access list and gave me a direct number. That night another message arrived. Not from her, from a cousin. A screenshot of her Facebook post. "Some children forget their roots. Some repay love with cruelty." Dozens of comments praised her. None knew the truth. I saved every comment, every reaction. Laura said softly, "She's escalating." She was right. An escalation always leaves a trail. Part 6. Peace without permission. The next email she sent proved just how far she planned to go. It arrived that Thursday afternoon. Subject line: legal threats from my own daughter. She copied half the family. Aunts, uncles, even grandma. Paragraphs about heartbreak, sacrifice, duty. All rewritten to suit her. Replies came fast. Some defended her. Some hesitated. Some fell silent. I forwarded everything to my mentor, Patricia. Every line mattered now. 2 days later, security called me at work. My mother was downstairs demanding entry, claiming an emergency. They followed protocol and asked for my approval. "No," I said quietly. "She isn't authorized." Police escorted her out. Another report added. Another timestamp saved. Patricia didn't hesitate. We filed for a restraining order. The hearing came fast. A small courtroom, cold fluorescent lights. I wore my navy suit. Hands steady. Voice clear. I testified with dates, incidents, documents, everything recorded carefully. My mother contradicted herself repeatedly, emotions swinging wildly. The judge reviewed our evidence calmly, then issued a full 1-year order, 500 feet of space. No direct contact allowed. No surprise visits again. Laura hugged me tightly outside. "You protected yourself," she whispered. Megan later moved out, found a small studio, and started therapy twice weekly. Grandma invited me for quiet dinners. Just soup, soft light, no drama. Life settled slowly like dust after a long storm. One evening, sitting in my apartment, I realized something strange. I finally had room to breathe, room to think, room to live. Peace didn't feel dramatic. It felt earned, private, quiet. And I didn't walk away to punish her. I walked away to live. If this story touched you, please tap like, share it with someone carrying old family wounds, and subscribe to Echoes of Life for the next story of quiet strength and reclaimed peace.